Webrazzi izleyicileri merhabalar. San Francisco'dayız. Bir basın etkinliği için geldik. OBI Worldphone adı verilen yeni bir akıllı telefon markasının lansmanıydı. İlginç bir firma. Kurucuları arasında Apple'ın eski yöneticileri bulunuyor. Aslında bunlardan bir tanesini Webrazzi izleyicileri çok yakından tanıyorlar. John Sculley bizimle birlikte San Francisco'da bir kısa video röportaj talebimizde kabul etti. Hello John, it's really a pleasure to have you with us today. Thank you for the acceptance.
Well, it's great to have you here in San Francisco, the center of some of the most innovative technology and design in the world here in Silicon Valley.
Actually, it is. Well, you're one of the really well-known characters in the world of technology today, and you have a really brilliant history and story with Apple, actually. And now, lately, you're just embarking on another journey, which is OBI Worldphone. So, could you tell us a little about how you came up with the idea of OBI?
Well, it turns out in life that you discover that everything that you've done before becomes preparation for the best part of the journey. And the smartphone has become the iconic product of our generation. Once it was automobiles, then it was television, now it's about smartphones. And everyone in the world wants to have not just a smartphone, but because it is a combination of design and fashion that is an expression of who you are, people want to have no compromising design combined with the very best technology. And what we are doing is taking the experience that our team learned at Apple. Our design is all done here in San Francisco. The team that is working with me all came out of Apple as I did. And we are not competing with Apple because Apple is a brilliant company. It makes most of the profits in the industry, and it's all at the high end of the industry, the premium price part of the industry, and Apple will continue to be, I think, exceptionally successful. But there's another part of this giant market that wants to have uncompromising design, and that means taking advantage of the fact that here in Silicon Valley, we understand the concept of design-led businesses. Whether it's Apple, whether it's Nest, whether it's Beats, these are great examples of innovation, of technology combined with beautiful design. What is different about OBI Worldphone, and why I'm particularly excited about Turkey, because Turkey sits with one view of the West and one view of the East, and it does so at the same location. It's at the crossroads. And we are at the crossroads conceptually because we are taking the experience of Asia, which is how do you do things at a very, very inexpensive price point, but without compromising design. How do you have the very best Silicon Valley inspirational design combined with budget pricing? And so that's what OBI Worldphone is all about. It's about finding a design gap in this giant commoditized market and building a design-led company that will bring the best talent in the world with technology and design, but be able to offer products that we intend to sell in 70 countries around the world in the fastest growing smartphone markets.
Well, you have really strong competitors in those markets actually, in this price range, which is medium or lower level price range. And you say that the design is one factor that will put OBI Worldphone in a significant position in the market. But do you also plan to sign up a developer community to form an ecosystem like Apple did, actually? Don't you think that is also part of the success of a smartphone? Because OBI, okay, design is one factor, but creating its own ecosystem is another factor. Do you plan to enroll a developer community or new services special to OBI Phone?
Well, you make a very good point, but we have to think of it in a very innovative way. So if you have very, very high profit margins, as Apple does at the high end, and you have the experience of building out not only the operating system, but Apple has been brilliant over the years with iTunes and now with App Store. That's a strategy that Apple has been uniquely successful at. we couldn't get into this industry if we didn't have a relationship with Google. And so we are taking advantages of a starting point of the Android operating system and the ecosystem of apps that are available on Android. But if that's all we did, we'd just be another commodity product. So we say we are OBI Worldphone, and I underscore Worldphone because what we are doing is focusing on the kinds of services and applications, in addition to what's available on the Android platform, that we can optimize between hardware and software that will take the friction out of things like how do you make a local call to anywhere in the world at local call prices? How do you get opportunities to get the lowest possible roaming data rates? How do you get the best possible global streaming of high-definition video that can be posted to Facebook with just one step? So those are just a few examples of how we are taking our platform, and we're not trying to replicate the millions of applications that Android already has. We're trying to say, in addition to those, how do we focus on a few things that will be very special for OBI Worldphones?
Okay, I hope that OBI Worldphone will also be another moonshot, which you describe in your book. But I have a question about this. Okay, I will read the book, all of it, but I just got a copy yesterday. First of all, why do you think that it's really time now to build billion-dollar business? I mean, do you think OBI will be one of them?
I'm absolutely convinced it will be. And the reason I'm so confident is because we are living in a generation of accelerating technology advances, not just one technology, but big data analytics, which enables social media and all kinds of e-commerce, an era of mobility where everything is about mobile devices, where cloud is becoming increasingly pervasive and increasingly inexpensive to do things, and we're seeing that devices can become smarter and smarter in the types of capabilities they have as assistants for people. So now when you think about what's the derivative effect, what's the implications of this technology in a more trend-changing sense. And here's the insight that I read about in my book, Moonshot. There's been a market power shift, and the market power shift has gone from large incumbent companies. Many could be in the smartphone industry, by the way, but they could be in many other industries too. It's not limited just to this industry. And the power shift is going to customers paying more attention to the opinions of other customers than they do the established messages of the incumbent companies. And so what that means is that if you have a product or service that the customers say, this is so superior, is so fantastic, it is so uncompromising comparative to anything else that is out there, they tell other customers, and they tell other people, and they tell other people. And look at the most successful multi-billion-dollar companies that have been innovators, many of whom have come from Silicon Valley. And maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's Google, maybe it's LinkedIn, maybe it's Twitter. These companies do not spend a lot of money on marketing. Why? Because they are depending on the users, the customers, to talk about how good their service is and tell other people about it. And so for us in this very crowded, commoditizing smartphone industry where many of the incumbents are hemorrhaging losses, huge challenges for the most established companies, Apple being the great exception to that, where they continue to thrive at the premium end of the market, but everybody else is being challenged. And so how do you deal with that? And the reason I'm so confident that we can deal with that is because we have the best design team in the world here in Silicon Valley. They have been ranked the #1 design firm in the U.S. And they are paying attention to the fit, the finish, the details, the user experience, the balancing software with hardware, all those technical things that are in many ways either beautiful or they have to be invisible. And we think that the first phones that we're bringing out for OBI Worldphone, that the test is going to be, do people fall in love with them?
Do you think that there is a chance that next moonshots will come from outside the United States?
I'm a big believer that we're going to see moonshots outside the United States. And I say that because I travel a great deal of the time all over the world. I've worked all over the world. I have relationships and friends, and I give speeches all over the world. And so more than most people, I get to see incredible talent around the world. So you say, so what has prevented moonshots from not happening outside the U.S., only in the U.S.? And I think it's a cultural issue. It's not an educational issue. It's not a sheer intelligence issue, because there are many very intelligent people who live in different parts of the world. But we have a culture here in Silicon Valley that says when you make a mistake, the first question you ask is, so what did you learn? In most of the world, you make a mistake and they say, how did you screw up?
Exactly.
Your career is over.
I totally agree.
And that cultural difference gives a huge advantage to us in Silicon Valley. Now, I don't think it'll always be that way, because we live in a world now where people move around a lot, and everyone here is an immigrant in Silicon Valley. We've come from somewhere else. And many people are now going back to their home countries, and they hopefully are bringing these cultural characteristics back with them. And so that's why I'm confident that we will see moonshots coming from other parts of the world.
Thank you very, very much joining us, and hope to see you in Turkey in your next world tour.
Well, I think it's such a pleasure to be able to talk with you. And I have been to Turkey many times. I've been to Istanbul. I've been to many of the cities. I've been up in the mountains, in mountain villages, visiting women who are doing microfinance and other things. And I love Turkey. It's a magnificent cultural mix in a very noisy neighborhood.
Exactly.
So my wife Diane and I look forward to coming to Turkey later this year, and we're very excited about the possibilities for OBI Worldphone.
Let me know, please.
Thank you, I will.
John Sculley ile birlikteydik. Teknoloji dünyasının çok bilinen isimlerinden, Apple'ın eski CEO'su. Şimdi de OBI Worldphone'un kurucularından. Görüşmek üzere, hoşça kalın.